I gave her everything. She still cheated. My regret. Sarah loved the view. Our view, really. From the balcony of our penthouse apartment, the city lights glittered like fallen stars. We had it all. A booming business, a beautiful home, expensive cars, and what I thought, a loving marriage. Looking back, maybe I was just blinded by the sparkle. We met at a charity gala. She was stunning. All long legs and a dazzling smile. I was instantly smitten. I showered her with attention, expensive gifts, and promises of a comfortable life. She seemed happy, grateful even. I worked tirelessly, building my company, driven by a desire to give her everything she wanted. That desire became an obsession. "You're working too hard, David," my best friend and business partner said one evening as we were burning the midnight oil at the office. "You need to spend more time with Sarah. She's starting to look distant." "She's fine," I scoffed, waving him off. "I'm doing this for her, for us. She deserves the best." David sighed, shaking his head. "Money isn't everything, Mark. Don't forget what's really important." I didn't listen. I was too focused on the next deal, the next expansion, the next step on the ladder of success. I saw Sarah less and less. Our dinners became silent affairs, filled with awkward pauses and forced smiles. Our bedroom felt like a vacant hotel room. I told myself it was just a phase, that things would get better once I had more time. I was wrong. Sarah started spending more time at work. She worked as a marketing manager for a tech company downtown. She mentioned a new coworker, Liam, who was supposedly brilliant and charming. I didn't think much of it. I was too preoccupied with closing a major deal that could change everything for my company. Then came Emily, another one of Sarah's co-workers, always at Sarah's office parties. Emily always managed to give off a sly glance in Sarah's direction, and I was not sure why. "Sarah is very lucky to have you as her husband," she once told me. I wasn't sure if it was a compliment or sarcasm. The first sign was subtle. A new perfume, expensive lingerie I hadn't bought, late nights at the office working on a campaign. I brushed it off as paranoia, the product of too much stress. But then the phone calls started. She'd rush out of the room to answer them, whispering in hushed tones. She became secretive, protective of her phone, always locking it with the new passcode. One night, I scrolled through the credit card statements while she was in the shower, something I never do. A charge from an expensive restaurant I didn't recognize. Another from a hotel downtown. My heart hammered in my chest. I tried to dismiss it, but the knot in my stomach tightened. I confronted her. "Who were you with?" I asked, my voice shaking. She looked at me, her eyes wide with innocence. "What are you talking about?" "The hotel. The restaurant. Who were you with?" She hesitated for a moment, then burst into tears. "It was a work dinner," she sobbed. "We had to impress a client." I wanted to believe her. I desperately wanted to believe her. But the lies felt like shards of glass in my throat. My promotion came shortly after, a huge step up. More money, more responsibility, more time away from home. I thought Sarah would be thrilled. She forced a smile, but her eyes were hollow. "Congratulations," she said flatly. "I'm so happy for you." I started sleeping in the guest room. The silence between us was deafening. I felt like I was living with a stranger. I talked to David about it, pouring out my fears and suspicions. "I think you need to hire a private investigator," he said grimly. "I hate to say it, but I think something's going on." I resisted the idea at first. I didn't want to believe my wife was capable of betraying me. But the gnawing feeling in my gut wouldn't go away. So, I did it. I hired a PI. The report came back a week later. It contained photos, dates, times, and a name, Liam. The photos showed Sarah and Liam holding hands, kissing, entering a hotel together. The evidence was irrefutable. My world crumbled. I confronted Sarah again, throwing the photos on the table. She stared at them, her face pale. She didn't deny it this time. "It just happened," she stammered, tears streaming down her face. "I didn't mean for it to happen. How could you?" I roared, my voice filled with rage and pain. "How could you do this to me, to us?" She sobbed uncontrollably. "You were never there," she cried. "You were always working. I felt so alone. Liam, he paid attention to me. He made me feel alive. I gave you everything," I shouted. "Everything you ever wanted." "That's not true," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "You gave me things, not yourself." The truth of her words hit me like a punch to the gut. I had been so focused on providing for her materially that I had neglected her emotionally. I had given her a life of luxury, but I had failed to give her what she really needed: my time, my attention, my love. Sarah revealed that Liam was much younger than me. I couldn't help but compare myself to him. Was he more attractive? More exciting? Did he give Sarah what I couldn't? I spiraled into a deep depression, unable to eat or sleep. I started drinking heavily, numbing the pain with alcohol. I confronted Emily, fueled by anger and desperation. "Did you know about Sarah and Liam?" I demanded. She feigned surprise, but I saw a flicker of something in her eyes. A hint of triumph, perhaps. I suspected something," she admitted. "But I didn't want to interfere. I felt sick to my stomach. I had been surrounded by deceit and betrayal, and I hadn't even realized it. We separated. I moved out of our beautiful penthouse and into a small, sterile apartment. The silence was deafening. I missed her, even after everything. I missed the sound of her laugh, the warmth of her touch, the way she used to look at me with adoration. I started attending therapy. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. I had to confront my own flaws and shortcomings, the things I had done wrong in the marriage. I had to acknowledge that I was not the perfect husband I thought I was. Sarah seemed genuinely remorseful, calling and texting me frequently. She blamed her actions on my neglect, on the pressures of our lifestyle. But her apologies rang hollow. The trust was broken, shattered beyond repair. I met with her father, a wealthy and influential man who had always been supportive of me. He looked at me with disappointment in his eyes. "I always thought you were the right man for Sarah," he said sadly. "I guess I was wrong. I encountered Liam at a restaurant one night. He was with Sarah. I wanted to punch him, to scream at him, but I held myself back. I simply stared at them, my heart filled with a mixture of anger and sadness." The divorce was finalized a few months later. The division of assets was messy and contentious. I lost half of everything I had worked so hard for. But the financial loss was nothing compared to the emotional toll. I started dating again, cautiously. It was difficult to trust anyone after what had happened. I was afraid of being hurt again, of making the same mistakes. Sarah stayed with Liam for a while, but their relationship eventually fizzled out. I heard through the grapevine that she was struggling, that she regretted her choices. Part of me felt vindicated, but mostly I just felt sad. Years have passed. I've rebuilt my life, both personally and professionally. I'm in a healthy relationship with someone who understands me and appreciates me for who I am. I'm happier than I ever thought I could be again. But the scars of betrayal remain. I'll never forget the pain and humiliation I felt when I discovered Sarah's affair. I still carry the weight of regret, wondering if things could have been different if I had been a better husband. I gave her everything, or so I thought. But I failed to give her the one thing she truly needed, my unwavering love and attention. And in the end, that cost us everything. That's my regret, a regret I will carry for the rest of my life.